Hey guys, welcome back. James out here on the bench again at 50 yards, and it is very, very windy, about 20 mile an hour winds on November 15th here Saturday. But I feel like I owe you guys this video because I've been shooting competitively, been Benchrest 22 LR at 50 yards for the past couple years now, and studied my own shooting and studied some of the best Benchrest shooters out there. And I've also put out videos in many years past about accuracy secrets, what is happening when your gun is grouping funny, whether it's not grouping very good, whether it's stringing up and down, left and right, horizontally, stuff like that. And I've been seeing a lot of videos lately of guys shooting with their rimfire and just not getting the results that they really want. And I know it sucks, believe me. So with that said, I got a couple accuracy hacks that I wanted to show you guys and share. And I have a camera downrange on a strip of an ARA 50-yard factory card. And what I found out is different rifles act differently depending on the weather circumstances. And I'm not talking about the wind, I'm talking about the climate, the heat, the temperature, the atmospheric pressure, the humidity, stuff like that. And what you may notice here is a different gun on the channel that I've never shown. This is the KSA Cricket Varmint model 722 from Keystone Armory. And it's American made, and in my opinion, it's the American version of a CZ match rifle. It doesn't really engrave the bullet as much as like a true match barrel does, but it has just a hair of a jump. It's got the target chamber in it. But a little backstory on this gun before I share with you is that I got this gun and I was going to try to shoot it in a few of the matches that I went to before the season of my competitions of ARA factory class was up. And I got it in, shot it. It did mediocre. It would shoot a couple decent groups, and then the group would just open up to the size of like a softball or golf ball. It was just ridiculous on how bad it would open up at 50 yards. And we're talking within just two, like 5-7 round groups or whatever it was I was testing with. And that was with match ammunition. So that is not very good at all. So number one, if your gun is shooting a good group and then it doesn't, repetitively in decent weather, then it's a barrel issue. And I've told several people online too that, hey, you might want to get your barrel checked. You might want to send that gun in and have your barrel replaced. And what I did was I actually contacted Keystone as soon as I got the gun because I knew whether or not it was going to be shooting good. I actually shot the bullet in one of my capture tanks and seen the rifling on the bullet. Well, then I contacted Steve over at Keystone Armory and asked him about it. And he made me, he told me to go ahead and send the gun in. And they had it for a while. I know they were super busy. I got it back and I asked him what happened. He goes, well, I went ahead and replaced the barrel, one of the new batches. So come to find out, the barrel that was originally in it, the rifling was really rough. And this style of rifling in this barrel is made by a button. Some guns use hammer forging. This was made by a button. It's not a cut rifling or nothing like that. It's not to that extreme. But this is a button rifled barrel with a sizer ran through it. And this new barrel on this gun, it shoots very good. And I have competition results to back it up. The last match that I went to of the year, I brought this and shot it, and I had a pretty much near perfect card. I scored a 2450 out of 2500 with this gun, and it just shot amazing. Now here's the problem. It only did that with one card. I got two really good cards out of 6 cards, and the other cards did mediocre. And that's why I wanted to make this video for you guys to show you when your gun is going to be shooting good and when it isn't. Now, like I said, the accuracy hack here is that, excuse me, you need to figure out first if you have a good barrel and to tell whether or not you have good rifling. That's number one, or you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money on ammo. So once you figure out that you have a good barrel, next you could test to see when the consistency is there for that bullet that you're using, or the barrel, the setup. Now, you've probably heard many people say, oh, once you get a 22 LR, you need to go out and buy a lot of different blends and whatever bullets to test out. To a certain extent, that is somewhat true, but it isn't at the same time. What you need to do is buy not only just different blends or different varieties, I recommend sticking with the same brand. And I shoot Lapua during competition, and what happens is when you change different loads, you're shooting different velocities. And I've known this because I've studied some of the best shooters out there, and I've shown this, you know, some of these little secrets here and there, you know, clippets on my channel throughout the years. But you know, if you watch some of these Benchrest record holders, like for instance, throwing a name out there on the Via 40 team, Jack Neary, he is a Benchrest shooter at 200 yards, and the competition they get to shoot in is center fire, so they get to load on the fly for the weather conditions. That's right. So it's not what you shoot, it's when you shoot it is what it is. And I've said that in many of my secret videos. So what he does is, and a lot of the shooters that's on his team, they load their bullet on the spot for the weather condition that it is. So they don't load, you know, a bunch of rounds and then shoot. They load one at a time. Well, the competition that I shoot, I can't do that. So what I have to do is, you know, figure out which one of these is going to shoot very well, because they all use the same bullet and they all use the same, you know, powder, but the primer compound's just a little bit different, making it go a little bit faster, a little hotter, or a little less, you know, not much. So with that said, this next hack will save you a ton of money if you go out and buy the same ammunition, just different models of that ammunition. If they're using the same bullet, just different velocities basically. Like for instance, I could tell you Center X is the lowest, and then Midas Plus, and then long range is a little bit hotter. And now if you've seen on my channel, and you know, last winter I was shooting long range a lot because it was a little bit of a hotter round and it was a colder temperature. So weather does play effect on what gun and ammo you're using. So now, this is the second hack. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my gun all leveled up. And again, this is a really good barrel. And I'm using my Caldwell Precision turret rest here with a rear bag, and I'm leveling it to my plumb line down there. Not that I really have to for this test, but that's what I've always done. And I single load. So now I'm going to start on the low end and see what happens. So in this test, this being the second hack that I'm showing you guys, is that you only shoot a couple rounds to determine this, how well the gun will do. And I've been very, very consistent in my shooting, that when I shoot a competition card, I shoot about 4 rounds max before I start doing the scoreable target. I do 1 round for cold bore and the 3 shots to group up, and that tells me whether or not how well it's going to do if I'm just bringing a certain ammunition. And I've tested, you know, the same gun and same ammunition through the whole season just to pick up on this. So same lot number and everything. So now I'm going to take 3 or 4 rounds, I should say. This is the first round cold bore. And this is the most important right here. This will tell me whether or not the Center X is going to do very well on these conditions. Okay, right on the bull. Now I'm going to shoot a couple more, and I'm single loading these because I don't want the magazine to interfere with my accuracy. Not that it does on this gun, I just prefer not to. So the cold bore was dead on. I mean, that's nuts. And that tells me right there, I'll show you why here in a second, with my previous cards, and not just this gun. And I'm holding dead bull. Okay, that one dropped off. All right. So that tells me right there that that grouping with the cold bore shot you measure from the center of the cold bore shot to the center of the warm-up group, and that number gives me a measurement that'll give me a rough idea on how well this gun will do during competition. Now, if I had to guess, it would probably be around maybe a 2200, 2300 card. And I mean, that's pretty accurate. It's probably around 90%, but it's just not that great. It's good, but it's not that great. Now I'm gonna let this gun cool off. So now that we shot the lowest velocity of the low in these conditions, I'm gonna move up to the next ammunition, which is the Midas Plus. It's a little bit hotter, and you can see the group down there. I mean, it was okay, but it's just not great. So once this barrel gets cooled down in a couple of minutes, I'm going to switch to the Midas and do the same test over again, because this replicates obviously during the competition of the cool down period between swapping out cards and whether or not your barrel is cold bore or not, especially if you're hunting. You always want that shot to be on. Now that down there, that would be dead squirrels, obviously. So okay, so now that this barrel has cooled down for a couple minutes, I'm going to start with the Midas Plus. I'm going to shoot one shot, the next bull over, and this will tell me in these conditions how well this bullet will do. Same hold. All right, cold bore shifted way up. You can see that. Now this is a little bit of a hotter round too, so that could be why, but we'll follow up with 3 more shots just to verify. All right. That had to have been a bad round. There's no way it threw it that far. That's another thing you're fighting, is bad loads. Yeah, see, that had to be a bad bullet. Unfortunately, as much as this stuff costs, and it's still a bad load, almost $27 a box, but you can see it significantly tightened up because that was not my fault. That's way out there to be my fault. I was, you know, on. All the shots were right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that gun cool down, and then we'll move on to the Lapua long range, which is a little bit more hotter. I'm not sure if you could hear the difference on camera or my mic, but you could hear the pop a little bit louder every time I switch to a different ammo. And this is why it all comes down to the certain weather conditions you're shooting in. It changes the way the bullet flies. And it's not really, like I said, what you shoot, it's when you shoot it. So if you're shooting the same bullet, just different velocities, and finding out exactly what velocity you need to shoot it at, then you should be golden, right? So this theory should be spot on, and you know, I could back it up with my success in Benchrest with just by using my budget guns and getting the scores I'm getting. So I'm gonna let this gun cool down for a couple more minutes, and we'll switch to the Lapua long range. All right, so it's been a couple minutes. I've let the gun cool down. I went out there and looked at the targets at 50 yards. Camera's still going. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Lapua long range, and as you can see down there, the Midas, even with the cold war shot, did very, very good. Minus that crazy flyer that you're betting on the manufacturer to assemble the ammo for you. That's uncalled for. Okay, I'm doing the same hold, Lapua long range, a little bit hotter. Next target to the left. Way high. Way high. That shows the velocity difference there, as you guys can see. Ooh, long range. Grouping right there next to the first shot. Let's see if it keeps it up. Not bad. Last shot. I think it went in the same hole as the first shot did. So looking down there, I could tell you that the long range and Midas obviously are gonna be better than the Center X on this condition. And the reason why is they're a little bit more velocity to cut the wind. And when I say I don't hold for wind, basically means I'm not holding left and right or adjusting for it. What I'm holding for is hold over. As you can see down there, there's a difference from the height of each group when I shifted the velocity from the lowest velocity being Center X to the Midas Plus and to the long range. Now, here's the part of the hack that I found out about my guns, whether it's this or my Ruger 1022 Talo model, which I've taken before this the match I took this to and got a 2400 card on, which is the highest card I've ever got with a 1022. It shoots the same exact way because they have almost identical chambers. And I started catching on to it and started telling the guys that I shoot with, you know, the bullet holes look funny. They look a little different. They look a little more burnt. They look gray. And I caught on to it that depending on how the carbon ring looks on your bullet hole in your paper, it definitely plays a role in the accuracy. Now, if it's a really dark ring, it's burning a lot. I mean, it's really dark. And if it looks more like a silverish gray, at least my guns, that's what they really prefer and that's what they really like. So I'm gonna go down and get that target and measure the group and show you what I'm talking about when I mean that I know which one of these bullets will shoot better because I have, you know, the targets from competition to compare these groups to and measure off of. And I could tell you, you know, within about a 1/4 inch to 5/16 from the cold bore shot to the center of the 3-shot group that I shot afterwards, that's how well this gun and ammo will do on a competition, or whether it's in the field for hunting purposes or whatever the case may be. Because the cards back up what I found, you know, during the matches. And from sitting out there all day during a match, from the time we start till the time it ends, is like a 3 to 6 hour period, depending on how long the day is and how long the competition is. So I'm gonna go down there and get the card. Okay guys, so here's the target with the measurements, and what I did was I measured from the first shot, the cold bore, to the center of the 3-shot group, and that tells me how accurate this load will be, because the first shot is basically measuring what your gun is going to do. It gives you a rough idea. As you can see here from the center of the group on the Midas Plus, like 1/8 of an inch, literally. So in this condition, I would use the Midas. I know that one right there, I don't know what the heck that was. I was not aiming there. I pulled the trigger holding the exact same spot, and you can see all the shots that I shot went in there, even the follow-up shot. So I think I'm just gonna sub that up to a bad round. But you can see here, the Center X and the long range Lapua pretty much tied. And then the words of Jack Neary, again, one of the best Benchrest shooters out there in my opinion, the ugly small groups always win. So, and they're consistent. Now this doesn't mean when the weather changes in about an hour or so, this is going to be the same. You'd have to do this test again, you know, to see this, but it's just a fun little hack I wanted to share. Now, since I know how well the Center X is going to do, I'm going to go and show you something that's really cool. So I have the target set back up down there, and with that said, if you've known on the channel here, I've shown some interesting comparisons, and with my expertise and knowledge of shooting Lapua ammo, specifically the Center X, because that's what I mainly shoot. I've dabbled into the Midas Plus and long range, obviously, but I found out, this is the third hack, if you're still following along, I wish you are, that if your gun shoots Center X really, really good in the conditions that it's shooting in, and you don't want to waste the money on shooting Center X all the time, but just keep a box on hand just to test your gun to see when it's going to shoot good, you may want to try out CCI Standard Velocity. This was my go-to round for, you know, ever since I started shooting precision, and once I got into competition, I seen why. Now, with that said, this ammunition shoots very, very good under certain circumstances. And according to that target down there, if Center X did that decent, this should shoot really, really decent too. So let's go ahead and try it out. This is just some random lot that I've been buying from Rural King. It's nothing special. I don't really care about the first cold bore flyer on this, but this should shoot a little low as well. I'm going to shoot for the target underneath the Lapua ammo. Bull. First shot bull. There it is. Right there. Yeah, buddy. It's just stacking the CCI Standard Velocity in there, guys. I mean, it is. Just stacking them in there. All right, guys, I think you see the point here that when you know your rifle, you know, it shoots very, very good, really, no matter the ammunition. And once you get the pattern set down, you know what ammunition shoots really good when one of these ammunitions shoot good, whether it doesn't matter the brand. I mean, you can see Center X did mediocre, and the CCI Standard Velocity was right there with it, head to head. And I've had the same comparison, you know, on my Ruger 1022s as well. But obviously, you know, it seems to be a pattern from gun to gun, the same pattern, and that's why I wanted to share this with you. So, this video that I wanted to share again covered 3 hacks, and that was determining whether you have a good barrel. If none of the ammo that you have shot is getting really, really nice tight groups, with or without the cold bore flyer included, then it's a barrel issue. Obviously, because I'm shooting in windy conditions right now. You can see the wind is blowing and howling 20 miles an hour plus gust. And send the barrel or the gun back and have it fixed. I mean, I can't stress enough. This isn't the first gun that I've had to send back. So that's hack number 1. And hack number 2 is look and see how good the cold bore first shot out of the cold barrel matches up with the following group. It could be a 3-shot group, 5-shot group, whatever group you want. I just did 3 shots for the sake of the video, and that's what I do during competition on my ARA cards. And it tells me a reading and tells me that, hey, it's not going to be a good card, or hey, this card is going to be really decent. So, you know, and it does. You can see my guns, the scores are posted live on ARA's website that I pretty much do a wave. The gun will do really good, or it'll drop off, come back up. It's because of the weather pattern. And like I said, I've been following a lot of these Benchrest shooters, and the things that I have found throughout the years that I've mentioned on the channel, and then now these Benchrest shooters are coming on podcast and saying the same things that line up parallel with what I've been trying to, you know, showcase on my videos, is awesome, because that means we're on the same page. That means that the guys that I admire are the ones to follow, because, you know, we are so alike in figuring out the same things, and it just shows downrange. And my results, again, don't lie. The guys I shoot with, I really appreciate those guys. They even congratulated me when I brought this gun, because they thought, oh man, you finally moved up to the bolt action game, because they knew that I always shot the 1022. Don't get me wrong, I've gotten some great results with it, but they were wondering when and if I was ever going to move to a bolt action gun. And you can see here, this is the one I settled with, because it's a budget friendly gun and it shoots very, very good under the circumstances and ammo. I mean, this gun is not expensive at all. I mean, it's probably a half or third of the price of a MTR by CZ or a Bergera, and it shoots right there with them. I mean, again, I've shot almost perfect cards with it, but it wasn't very consistent card per card. So anyways, guys, I hope you got something from this video, and I hope you see where I'm coming from, and I hope I showed you how consistent a gun can be, and you should test this out on your gun to see as well. So anyways, I'm going to get off here because the wind is picking up, and I'm going to edit this long video because I've been recording for almost an hour now, letting the gun sit, shoot again, showing you the results downrange, stuff like that. So thanks for watching, and see you guys on the next one.